like to take a brief interlude to say I have no idea what I'm doing right here. Okay, so I decided to hop on board with everybody else right now who's very excited for the Barbie movie coming out. And I decided I'm going to make a Barbie dress to wear to the movies this weekend. But I didn't have the fabric, so I had to wait until the fabric store opened up this morning. I have 3 days to make this. I got everything that I need. I have 7 yards of this, so I have plenty for the dress and for the bow. Just got a pink invisible zipper. I found these rhinestone buckles. They're gonna work perfect. I'm kind of excited. I'm kind of nervous, but we're gonna see what I can get done. So yay, let's go home. For this project, it was pretty simple to work with. I basically just used a bunch of rectangles for every bit of this dress. For the straps here I'm working with, I did 2-inch wide straps that I pressed in half, right sides together. I sewed down one end to kind of close off the strap and then sewed down the long side completely. I did 4 of these so I could have tie straps. With this, I then took it over and tried to turn out the straps using my loop turner, but it was not working. So I grabbed my little blue thing here and I turned them out that way just by pushing it all through from the wrong side, pushing everything out to right side. After I did that, I went over to my serger and I serged around all of the curved edges of my pocket pieces because every dress needs to have pockets. When I finished serging the pocket pieces, I attached them to the skirt panels 4 inches down from the top of each panel. I then took those to the sewing machine and I sewed them down. All the seam allowances I used on this project were a 1/2 inch seam. I serged the raw edges there to kind of keep everything from fraying. I pressed out that seam there and understitched the pocket lining to make sure everything would stay toward the inside whenever the dress was worn. After I did this, I sewed up the side seams of the panels there by sewing down the top bit and then around the pocket and then just down the rest of the skirt. After that part was done, I could then pleat down the skirt, and I will explain a little bit more about that. Okay, so I quite literally have no idea what I'm doing here because I've never really done so much of this as a pattern on my own. Right now I'm trying to figure out how I want to gather, focus. I want to gather all of this down. That's just the front panel. And then the 2 back panels I want to gather down to fit my waist measurements. So what I did here was mark my center point in the very front. I know where my side seams are, obviously, because they are sewn there. So I figured out how many checkers I have here because they're each 1 inch width. And then I went out 1.5 inches. You can't see. I went out 1.5 inches from my center point on both sides, so 3 inches. And then I started doing pleats to be 3 inches, just marking them. Obviously I haven't pleated anything yet. So I just went through and put 12 lovely pleats all the way through here, from one side of the back all the way to the other side of the back. I'm going to go through and sew down where my pins are on all of these and then press them all where they lay flat like this. I'll run a basting stitch across the top when I'm done with that so everything lays nice and flat and still. And then I'll be able to move on to the bodice. As I was pleating the skirt, I did have to stop and change out my bobbin thread because with my new machine, it will not let me continue to actually run completely out of bobbin thread. When I finished that, I sewed up my extra pleats and then I was able to start working on the bodice. For this bodice, I used my pattern that I did last year for my floral bedsheet dress, and I just used those measurements, cut out the top corners from the front bodice, and on the back bodice, I actually split it down the middle so I could add the zipper in the back. I'll go ahead and link the floral bedsheet video up in the top corner so you can go see how to actually make that for your own measurements as well. When I was sewing these together, I took the outer piece and made a sandwich with the inner lining, but I put the strap in between so it would all hold together when I sewed across the top. After I sewed the bodice pieces together, I trimmed the seam allowance and turned them right side out. Everything was pressed nice and flat and ready to be top stitched down for all of the pieces. But before I did that, I did open up the back seam where the zipper goes on the two back pieces, and I serged down there to give it a nice clean finish for when I would install the zipper. After that, I went to the sewing machine and then top stitched everything down as close as I could get it to the actual edge of the fabric. I'd like to take a brief interlude to say I have no idea what I'm doing right here. I've never draped to find the darts. I mean, I can see clearly that I could make some darts right here. Oh, actually, hold on. At this point, I was figuring out kind of how to put in the darts myself. The waist darts weren't so much of a problem. It became a problem when it was the side darts that came over the side of the bust. My bodice then became too short, so I had to take those out. So in the end product, it is a little bit loose around the top of the bust. That's okay. I'm fine with it. It doesn't make a difference to me. I just made it a little bit tighter by tying up the ties a little bit tighter. When I actually did pull them a little tighter, though, it did put stress on the fabric pieces on the top of the bodice, so I had to go back and actually tack them down on the inside because they did start to pull out of the fabric. At that point, though, I was just kind of done with this dress. I was having fun with it, but I was just kind of done and ready to be over with it. With that thought, it was time to go ahead and add the bodice and the skirt pieces together. I used my serger to just kind of take care of any of those fraying edges, and this fabric was fraying quite a bit, so I'm really glad I had that to finish off those edges. Since I was at the serger, I went ahead and decided to go ahead and serge the bottom of the hem while everything was laying nice and flat. I pressed the hem up and sewed it down with the machine while it was all flat. So the only thing I had left to do after that point was to install the zipper and sew up the whole back of the dress. I definitely sped up installing the zipper because I was moving at the speed of turtle to install this. It took forever, and I actually sewed through the teeth a few times and had to go back and unpick all that. Overall though, this zipper I think is probably the best one that I have sewn. To finish off, I made the accessories. I made the hair bow kind of off camera, and then I made the belt by just looping it through, sewing everything down with this tube. After that, the dress was done. So how does it look? This was honestly a super fun project to work with. It was simple and easy to do, but a lot of fun. I super enjoyed the Barbie movie. I hope you guys get to go see it and you really enjoy it too. If you haven't already, please like the video, subscribe, comment, do the thing there to get the video out there for the YouTube algorithm so other people can see this. I would super appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you want to see these other videos, feel free to click over here. Have a good one. Bye!